What's up, everybody? This is Austin from the Sports Chief coming at you with another DFS preview for NASCAR at the Consumers Energy 400 at Michigan International Speedway. Um, so, those of you who do not know Michigan International Speedways, I guess it's not really a super speedway, but with the way this new aero package is, it's going to kind of drive like that. Going to be some pack racing involved. So it's going to be an interesting week. The last race at Michigan, which we actually were successful and actually took home some green, Joe Logano pretty much dominated the whole race. Started on the pole, and most of the time when he starts on the pole, he pretty much gets it done and wins. So that's very important to know heading into this weekend. You know, starting position is always key at this track because it is pretty difficult to pass. But I do believe you can find value with guys, you know, starting towards the back of the field for this week. And also, the last Michigan race was an impound race. Those of you who do not know, the impound race means that NASCAR kind of, I don't want to say confiscates, but kind of keeps the car after qualifying, and you know you can't do anything to it. Well, they qualified, then they practiced afterwards, so you could actually work on your car a little more after qualifying, which is going to lead probably to a little faster speeds, a little different style racing this week than the first one. And also, I'm trying to think. I believe the last one was rain shortened and ended on a Monday. So you got to keep that in mind. There's 200 laps, so decent opportunity for laps led as far as points goes. So yeah, the truck race actually was pretty exciting. A lot of pack racing for that, and the speeds will probably be similar. Well, the cup will be a little faster, but be something to look forward to. As always, we look at practice speeds and things like that for picking our lineup. But let's go ahead and get that started. See what Sports Chief's rolling out here. As you can tell, Kyle Busch is the most expensive driver this week. Starting in 22nd spot, he is at 12.4 on the salary. Kevin Harvick starting in second, 11.8. Martin Truex Jr. starting in 15th at 11.3. Brad Keselowski starting on the pole at 10.7. And then rounding out the 10K guys will be Joey Logano. Pretty standard. Logano was actually pretty cheap last week. So, yeah, that's what you got for the 10K guys. One thing that I have done starting this lineup, so this is probably going to be leaning more towards a tournament lineup, but I do offer myself enough security that I can kind of stay in the green, I feel like, for the strategies that I use. So, looking at this lineup here, last week I kind of went from top to bottom. There was news in qualifying that NASCAR disallowed 2 times from 2 drivers, and those guys were in the RCR camp with AustYn Dillon starting in 37th. And as you can tell, they threw out the qualifying speeds of both Richard Childress cars. He's starting in 37th spot. It would be an insanely terrible day for AustYn Dillon to not get a positive EV starting in 37th. I feel like if he can't get a top 20, that would be pretty detrimental. So you got 17 points there, and then you got the 20th place finish, which is got to be 20-some points. Hey, let's just take a look at it. So you go to the full contest details, hit rules and scoring. So he's starting, if he finishes 20th, gets 24 points, he's going to pick up 17 spots. 17 plus 24 is 41, right? Yeah, so 41 points. That's pretty good for picking AustYn Dillon. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go AustYn Dillon. Not only am I going to go AustYn Dillon, I'm going to go with Daniel Hemric as well, because I think both those guys could get top 20 finishes. Daniel Hemric actually picked up a 12th place finish here at Michigan in his last start. Both cars were pretty fast in practice, to tell you the truth. Dillon actually led one of the practices in speed. I think it's the first one. But yeah, their speed is going to be there. And it's going to be pretty difficult for you not to pick those guys in your lineup, which gives us a very attractive $9,100 and $9,125 with remaining salary. So I can go ahead and tell you that probably 60 to 70%, depending on if you're in a double up. Probably a lot of your big tournaments, you're going to be looking towards the 50s as far as ownership goes. but maybe even higher, maybe 60. But Kyle Busch is going to be very highly owned. He's at 22nd spot. And one thing that I wanted to do this week, I wanted to go Kyle Busch. Of course, when I'm making my lineup, that leaves me with $8,000. I could go like an Eric Jones, Kyle Larson, and then go with Chris Buescher. Sounds pretty good, right? Yeah. The thing is, I just don't think Kyle Busch is going to win the race. To me, last week we had Chase Elliott in our lineup. And we actually did come away with a pretty good payday last week. If you watch our video and see how we did there, how our strategy was, Chase Elliott just flat out dominated. He started in first, led 80 of the 90 laps. To me, it's going to be a similar showing to me in the fact that Kevin Harvick has been so fast in practice. His fall off, if you watch his 10 lap, 15 and 20, I don't know if he went up 20, but 5, 10, and 15 lap averages, the guy stayed pretty steady. And his 10 lap average speed in, I want to say the final practice. Sorry if I'm misleading you in a different direction here, but if you look at one of the, I believe it's the final practice, you look at the 10 lap averages, he was like 3 and 4 tenths faster. And he did have a little fall off come 20 laps, and like Denny Hamlin and other drivers were kind of, and Clint Boyer was actually quick. They were kind of with him. But Kevin Harvick, if he can get that much space out in front of these guys, he's going to be tough to beat. And Kevin Harvick actually won the second race of the year at Michigan last year. I look for him to put on a very, very good show. And I think Kevin Harvick will win. And I wanted to go Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch, which that would lead us with $6,100. And it's just difficult to do that because in all reality, Matt Tiff starting in 19th, Chastain and LaJoie, they could very well finish where they're at. Ryan Preece could possibly get better in 29th, but even if you went Ryan Preece, you're stuck with Michael McDowell or Ty Dillon. And while Ty Dillon is pretty quick in practice, I don't really like that strategy. The points just don't add up. Kyle Busch could finish second. He could get the 42, 43 point output plus the 20 spots. He'd give you 60 something. He could lead some laps. He would have to dominate the race to make that worth it if you go with this route, because if you pick one of these guys and they finish 30th, you're just not going to get a lot of points. You might not even get any positive like passing points. So I don't think it's valuable. If you don't pick one of these guys, say you go Austin Dillon and then you go, I don't know, you could go Ricky Stenhouse or something, DiBenedetto possibly. If you go into DiBenedetto, it'd be a little more comfortable, but not really. So, yeah, we're not picking Kyle Busch this week. We're going to stay away from the chalk. So, my cash strategy is probably more of a tournament strategy in that regard because we're kind of fading Kyle. Truex is probably going to be attractive too with the 15th spot. But a guy, scrolling down here, I want to go Clint Boyer so bad, but starting in 5th spot, Clint has burnt me so much on these races. I think Clint could contend for the win, and even at 5th, he might not be worth it. But Eric Jones was very fast in practice. He was actually the fastest guy in the second practice. His lap averages were very fast. Eric Jones has been on a burner here lately. Third, second, fourth. He has been as good as anybody out there, and I think his time could be coming very soon. So I'm going with Eric Jones. He's also racing for a playoff berth and his ride, to be honest with you. Love that pick there. Scrolling down towards the bottom here, William Byron starting in 3rd. Byron always qualifies well. Jimmy Johnson in 10th. He's fighting for a playoff spot. Do I think he could get a top 10? Yeah, but he's just not as reliable to choose right now. Daniel Suarez did very well at the last Michigan race. Starting in 11th, kind of iffy. Chris Buescher in 25th. Chris Buescher will always be probably 30-some% owned just because of his starting spot. If you went Buescher, that would give you $8,900. You could get Kurt Busch, which would be a very good option. To me, though, the best option to go with, say if you went Eric Almirola, it'd be Ryan Newman. But to me, it would be Kyle Larson, starting in 17th spot. I feel like I go Kyle Larson a lot. And Larson has won here 3 times. He is one of the winningest drivers here at Michigan. And although his last 3 wins, he hasn't done so hot after that, he's still a good driver here. His speed was pretty good. He was top 10 speed-wise, lap averages, and things like that. And the thing is, even if Eric Jones and Larson have off days, man, they're top 15 guys. They're top 20 guys. And I think you'll get solid points. And Hemrick and Dillon are going to get you a lot of points, I feel like. The ceiling is really high with this lineup, and this is the best way to end this right now. I've got $7,900, and when I did this, bingo. You've got to pick Ryan Newman at $7,900. He's starting in 20th. Could very well get a top 10. I can't see Ryan finishing worse than 20th unless a wreck or something like that happens. Of course, we're not putting that into the equation. Chris Buescher in 25th. I don't think Buescher's got the speed that Newman's got. Newman was pretty fast in practice as well. And Newman's fighting for the playoff spot, and I like Ryan Newman better than Jimmy Johnson right now if I'm picking guys in the playoffs. So let's clean it up, see how it looks. So Kevin Harvick is my choice to win the race. He's starting in second spot. He will get you 1 point if he wins the race, but I believe he will lead probably over 100 laps. He will probably blister the field, and look for Kevin Harvick to come away with a win at the Consumers Energy 400. Scrolling down here, let's go with Eric Jones. I think Eric Jones, hey, he's finishing in the top 5 all the time. Let's keep the train moving. Let's keep going with him, and so hope he gets some positive EV, as well as Kyle Larson. We're going with Kyle Larson. All three of these guys could win the race. It's not far-fetched at all. And hey, Larson's driving that bad-looking McDonald's car that just looks cool to me. Ryan Newman is 7,900. Like him there. Seems like a great starting spot. He could get a top 15 and it's 5 points plus the 15th finish. AustYn Dillon, just going to be passing cars like crazy. And Daniel Hemrick as well. I think they're just going to get you a good output as far as place differential. So that's it. That's what the Sports Chief is rolling out here. Hopefully some of this information helped you. I feel pretty excited about how we finished last week. Watkins Glen got in some green, did some double ups, and I came away victorious. So hopefully we can keep giving you solid information. This is what I'm going off of. Love to look at history of the track, even though the way they're running it, it's a lot different than what it used to be. But the fact that it's not an impound race leads me to believe that you're going to see a lot of these guys, a lot of the top talent's going to come out there and they're going to put on a good show. I feel very positive. Anyway, that's all I've got here today. Check us out at www.thesportschief.com. Check us out on Twitter at thesportschief, as well as Instagram. Hit up some comments, like us, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you like what you're hearing as far as the NASCAR stuff. Maybe we can get some other stuff going up in here. So hope you all have a good race weekend and enjoy the race at Michigan International Speedway.